Welcome to EPG Pathshala. In this module, we will discuss about the environment biotechnology. Starting with the introduction, in modern era of technology, man is harnessing natural resources so as to fulfill his requirements. Nature provides nutrients, habitat, energy, water, air and oxygen. In return, anthropogenic activities like agriculture, transport, manufacture are contaminating the quality of air, water and soil. The production processes designed by human beings are not that much efficient in energy usage and utilization of raw materials. Most of the products obtained by these processes, they are non-biodegradable. Moreover, these processes, they also result in the generation of byproducts and release of some effluents. These products, when released into the environment, cause serious consequences. Environmental deterioration due to chemical contamination didn't occur overnight. It has a long history. Chemical contamination of water is caused by nitrates and chemical effluents present in industrial waste. Moreover, wildlife biodiversity has been affected severely by heavy metals like mercury, lead, cadmium and chemical pesticides. However, this doesn't happen when natural production systems are used. Scientists are therefore trying to reduce the pollution level as generated by man-made activities by developing some sort of technologies that can clean up the pollutants. Now here comes the term environmental biotechnology. It is an approach that has been applied for managing the environmental problems, or it can be said that it has been applied for restoration and protection of environmental quality. Or we can say that the technology that is used for the detection, prevention and remediation of environmental pollutants is termed as environmental biotechnology. It is a discipline that studies the employment of biological processes and systems for waste management. Historical background of environmental biotechnology. The term environmental biotechnology is not a new one. The most familiar examples are wastewater treatment and composting. The first episode of chemical pollution came into light in 1962 when the deleterious effect of DDT, that is dichloro-diphenyl trichloroethane residues, was observed on birds' population. The same pesticide was reported to be carcinogenic for living beings. In late 1960s, another disastrous case became highlighted when several cases of paralysis and sensory loss they were reported along Minamata Way in Japan due to mercury poisoning. In the same era, another episode of cooking oil contamination with polychlorinated biphenyls, that is PCBs, was reported in Japan and Taiwan. The contamination resulted in severe health effects, especially on females facing miscarriages and giving birth to defective babies. After these episodes, the public became aware about the ill consequences of chemical contaminants. Due to raising health concerns throughout the world, two conferences, that is United Nations Conference of Human Environment and Earth Summit, they were held at Stockholm and Rio de Janeiro in 1972 and 1992 respectively. But now the situation is totally different. The developed countries, they have legal provisions for toxic waste management. A list of at least 126 priority pollutants has been prepared by USEPA, United States Environmental Protection Agency, and European Community. Therefore, innovations in biotechnological techniques have been explored for the elimination of hazardous compounds from the environment. Now coming to the issues that are related to environmental biotechnology. International issues that are related to environmental biotechnology are marine pollution, air pollution, climate change and global warming, oil spill and energy crisis. Firstly, marine pollution. Worldwide increase in ocean temperature is attributing towards the rising incidences of coral bleaching. The process of coral bleaching occurs in response to stress conditions such as high temperature. Increased temperature displaces algal growth inside the reefs. As a result, reefs turn white and the main source of energy, that is algae, gets eliminated. Most of the mass bleaching processes, they occurred after 1989. A well-known example of mass bleaching was reported in 1997 to 1998 when 10 provinces were severely affected. However, in some cases, mass bleaching event led to mortality. For example, over an area of thousands of square kilometers, death of 90% corals was reported. In addition to increased temperature, coral bleaching also depends on the release of toxicants into ocean due to fishing activities. Methane emission has also been reported both in coastal habitat as well as on the floor of the ocean. Secondly, air pollution. 3 major areas that are responsible for adding air pollution into atmosphere are vehicular emissions, deforestation and industrialization. The most important gases that should be taken into consideration for their reduction to acceptable limits include VOCs, that is volatile organic compounds, oxides of sulfur and nitrogen, and greenhouse gases. Third is climate change and global warming. Global warming is a direct result of climatic change, and both of these have been recognized as global problems. Atmospheric concentrations of some gases such as CO2, nitrous oxide and methane, they are increasing rapidly. As a result, Earth's climate is changing so that the balance between the incoming as well as the outgoing radiations is restored. Rise in sea level is the major result of global warming. International Panel on Climate Change 2001 concluded that ecosystems get affected by climate changes. Climate change can lead to disappearance and changes in species composition of some ecosystems. Deforestation, energy consumption and methane emission from paddy fields are the major reasons of global warming. Next issue is oil spill. Marine ecosystem is the main ecosystem that is threatened by oil spills. Oil spills in coastal soils and oceans are responsible for the decline in mangrove forests of West Asian countries. Sometimes, oil is released accidentally during the extraction and transport process. Recent case of oil spilling was reported on 28 January 2017 in Ennore coast of Chennai. 2 cargo ships collided and resulted in the spilling of oil into the sea. Oil spill also polluted the beaches of Chennai city. Now coming to the national issues that are related to environmental biotechnology. First is solid waste. Incineration and landfilling activities, they are responsible for the disposal of solid waste. This results in unpleasant smell, groundwater contamination and air pollution. Unplanned disposal of hazardous and non-degradable waste causes negative impacts on environment and pose severe health problems to people who are staying in urban areas. Second is nitrogen deposition. The major reason of environmental degradation is nitrogen deposition. In the last few years, nitrogen deposition has increased substantially due to deforestation, fossil fuel burning and greater use of fertilizers. Now, if the nitrogen is present in higher quantity in soil and water, then the possible consequence will be variation in the distribution of plant communities and species loss. The most sensitive ecosystem is aquatic ecosystem due to surface runoff and discharge of effluents. The notable consequence of nitrogen deposition is eutrophication. Nitrogen deposition also creates problem in hilly areas. Soil of high altitude becomes deficient in nitrogen as it gets washed from hills to plains because of deforestation. This results in reduced plant growth and regeneration capacity. Moreover, the rate of seedling establishment is also hampered in these areas. On the other side, higher level of nitrogen in plains attract weeds and invasive species like grasses. Next is soil erosion. The phenomena of soil erosion is linked with other degradation processes. Category of degradation processes other than soil erosion includes eutrophication, siltation and decline in productivity of arable land and forest regeneration. Soil erosion also affects the buffering as well as filtration ability of the soil. There are some positive forces such as deforestation, overuse of vegetation and industrial activities, overgrazing that are responsible for erosion of fertile soil. Next is land degradation. It includes acidification, compaction, erosion, weed invasion and depletion of soil fertility. Another factors that are responsible for decline in land productivity is poor agricultural practices. Excessive use of fertilizers and pesticides come under the division of poor agricultural practices. Fertilizers and pesticides, they are polluting agents and affect the soil microflora. Other activities that are responsible for land degradation include industrialization, mining, effluent discharge and weed intrusion. Cultivable land of coastal areas is also damaged due to waterlogging, inundation of seawater and salinity. Now we will take an outlook of environmental biotechnology. First is the role of biotechnology for environmental safety. The present day technologies, they need to be modified in order to minimize the rate of environment degradation as caused by agricultural practices and industrial processes. Now researchers are getting motivated to develop some technologies that can utilize living organisms. The aim of such technologies is the production of those products that do not cause harm to the existing natural resources and environment. Environment biotechnology is the branch of science that deals with environmental purification and protection from pollutants and contaminants. List of eco-friendly processes include wastewater management. Environment biotechnology finds immense application in wastewater treatment. Industrial and domestic wastewater contains organic matter that undergoes total or partial degradation in environment by the action of microorganisms, yeast, fungi and algae. Organic matters are degraded biologically by several processes such as denitrification and methanogenesis via anaerobic respiration and aerobic respiration. Organic load present in the wastewater that can be reduced by sewage oxidizing ponds, sewage sludge, bio-BAPE generating oxidation system. Presence of complex polymers such as celluloses, hemicelluloses and lignin in wastewater, it can be reduced by using the artificial cultures of anaerobic bacteria like Fibrobacter species, Ruminococcus species and Clostridium thermocellum. Combined activities of fungi and bacteria, they are also capable of degrading lignocellulosic material. Phosphates are sedimentary in nature and therefore they form insoluble precipitates with many metals. These precipitates, they can further be separated either by the process of flotation or sedimentation. Nitrogenous compounds are difficult to remove because of their easy solubility in water. Now recent studies recommend the use of denitrifying bacteria for nitrogen removal from wastewater. Transformation and removal of heavy metals. Heavy metals, they are kept under control in the environment by the biological and chemical transformation of their ions. Biological transformation involves the use of higher plants and microbes. However, the ability of microorganisms and higher plants to transform toxic metals into non-toxic burns has not been utilized fully. Firstly, metal tolerant plant species are screened and selected before their introduction into metal contaminated areas. Plantation of such type of species can reclaim the land. Heavy metals are transformed by chelation, precipitation, biomodification, biosorption, volatilization and complexation. Biosorption technology is used to remove heavy metals from wastewater. In this process, metal ions from complexes by binding to the cell wall of the bacteria. Some bacterial species, they have been reported that have 30 times more capacity to their biomass for the absorption of zinc and copper. Now, next is processing of solid waste. Present system of solid waste management involves the burning of solid waste or dumping into open pits. The effect of such type of practices have already been realized and therefore suggestive measures they need to be taken for the disposal of solid waste. The most acceptable method is sanitary landfilling. The landfills are designed in such a way so as to ensure the minimum impact on environment. However, discharge of leachates is the major environmental concern that is related with these landfills. Another major thing that should be taken into consideration while constructing landfills is the reduction of gaseous emissions. Composting procedure requires the conditioning of raw materials, artificial inoculation of microbes, thermophilic microbes for degradation, and aeration for additional improvements. Another technology that converts waste material into nutrients that are valuable is vermicomposting. Vermicomposting is suitable for those materials that require longer degradation time. Vermiculture depends upon the efficiencies of earthworm, bacteria, whether they are thermophilic and mesophilic, and fungi. Another technique is anaerobic fermentation of waste. Anaerobic degradation of waste material generates biogas as the most important product. Biogas production is affected by types of bacteria. The major factors that should be taken into consideration for achieving uninterrupted anaerobic degradation include temperature, water content, pH, and redox potential. Next is development of biopesticides. Biopesticides, they have gained lot of attention because of the ill effects of synthetic pesticides. However, they have not gained much popularity amongst the farmers. The reason behind is the expensiveness and less availability in the market and limited production on commercial scale. The development of biopesticides include identification of living organisms, study of their growth habitat, multiplication of microbes, stability of microorganisms at particular conditions of pH and temperature. Now, degradation of biopesticides. Uncontrolled use of synthetic insecticides and pesticides has resulted in their bioaccumulation. Their ill effects, they have been studied extensively. Effect of synthetic pesticides on non-target species that can be analyzed by estimating the persistence and concentration of the chemicals. Certain reports claim that pesticidal residues in soil and water, they can be degraded by the use of microbes. Some enzymes like carboxyl esterase, phosphotriase, and glutathione S transferase, they have been studied extensively so that their role as pesticide degrading agents and for detoxification of contaminated sites can be known. Now, environmental biotechnology for management of resources. The field of environment biotechnology is related to reclamation of degraded resources, biogas and biofuel production, biomining and bioleaching. Now, coming to the reclamation of waste land. Land degradation reduces the production capacity of land. Anthropogenic activities that are responsible for land degradation, they include inappropriate use of agricultural land, poor irrigation practices, and improper crop rotation. In India, different types of soils like acidic, alkali, waterlogged, mine-based soils and saline soils are found. Saline soils of India, they cannot be reclaimed because they are frequently inundated by seawater. However, biotechnology has led to the development of those crop types that are suitable even for cultivation in wasteland. Microbial inoculation is also practiced in mine wastelands to reclaim the soil for plantation purpose. In order to facilitate the leaching of metals into deeper soil layers and their immobilization, phosphate and lignocellulose solubilizing microbes, they are used in combination with organic materials such as sawdust, leaf dust and rock phosphate for the reclamation of mine waste soils. Now, next is biogas and biofuel production. Biogas production from solid waste and sewage sludge can be produced successfully by anaerobic fermentation process. The process of fermentation is dominated by bacteria that form major products like carbon dioxide, propionic acid, hydrogen, acetic acid and intermediary products such as volatile fatty acids. Biogas production technology is an integral part of solid waste processing in urban area. This technology requires detailed analysis of reactor designing, syntropic interaction, reaction conditions and pre-processing of the substrate. Biofuel production involves the use of microbial, animal and plant biomass and other microorganisms. However, the focus point is the production of bioethanol from corn, sugar, wheat as well as from waste material from food processing industries. Next is biomining and bioleaching, the process by which metals are extracted from their ores by using living organisms is known as bioleaching. This process has received greater attention since it can sort out some major problems as experienced by mining industries. Metals that have been extracted by a bioleaching include gold, copper, uranium. Moreover, bleaching of ores serve as an alternative energy saving source. In contrast, biomining involves the extraction of metals from their ores by using prokaryotes or fungi. This technique or this technology controls the frequent release of acids and metals. Now, at the end, I would like to conclude that environmental biotechnology provides an alternate way that can either prevent pollution or remove pollutants from the environment in an easy way. The most advantageous thing is that the pollutants are removed from the soil and water bodies without compromising the quality of the environment. Environmental pollution has resulted in the deterioration of environmental quality and greater consumption of fossil fuel resources. Here comes the role of environmental biotechnology that aims toward the improvement of resource quality and replacement of fossil fuels with renewable raw materials. The central themes of environmental biotechnology are minimum production of byproducts and greatest utilization of substrate. Thank you.